I've been working to improve basic character movement in Glace lately, with the overall goal being to just make moving around the world more fun. And one thing I've been experimenting with a lot is the bounce mechanic. For a little bit of a backstory, Glace has this ability where he can bounce and ricochet off of walls. This was kind of an iconic part of the original game, and so I definitely wanted to keep it as part of the remake. I did want to make some updates though. In the original game, from back in 2004, players had to build up enough speed before they can bounce off of anything. It was kind of like Sonic games where you'd move slow at first, but eventually get going real quick. This was fine, but it did mean players needed a lot of room in a level to build up momentum, and it did lead to the controls feeling kind of heavy and ponderous sometimes. For the new game, I decided pretty early on that I wanted movement to be more responsive, and so the first thing I did was I got rid of the speed build-up notion entirely. I set the max walk speed to a quick rate, but I also tweaked acceleration and deceleration values so movement just felt snappier. Next, I added a dash ability that would give players a quick speed boost, and I connected this to the notion of bouncing. Now players could bounce by dashing at a nearby wall. I like this a lot because of the control it gave players. You could bounce right away in response to something happening like an enemy shooting at you. Anyway, that brings me to what I've been working on lately, which is basically what happens the moment you do perform a bounce. If you're a patron who has access to the remake, you know that bouncing off a wall usually sends you in an upward direction, despite what surface you hit. This is mostly what happens in the original game too. The idea here is to let players use the bounce ability to get to higher places in levels. This works, but it does feel like there are opportunities to give the player more control here. And so, after experimenting with a few methods, here's what I've come up with. Basically, it does what you might expect. You reflect off the surface the same way a ball might bounce off a surface in real life. And that's probably why I didn't do this in the original game from 2004, because all the surfaces were at 90 degrees. There weren't any fun angled surfaces you could hit. But in this remake, we do have angled stuff we can hit, and we can use this to control how we bounce. This creates a lot of cool level design potential too. It'll be fun to see what kind of levels we can create. And that's about it for this update. I want to say thank you for watching, and an extra special thank you to my patrons, who allow me to spend more time working on this game. If you'd like to consider becoming a patron, you'll get some cool stuff like access to the game right now, plus extra behind-the-scenes content that I post over on Patreon. Thanks again, and I'll talk to you soon.